Melanin, trickery, curse, or blessing. When European Caucasians stay in the sun too long without sunscreen, their skin gets red and irritated. They cannot stay in the sun hours and hours without sunscreen. It would be like torture. People with melanin simply get darker, as this is an adaptive protective natural process inherited in their DNA. For this reason, people with melanin do not need sunscreen. Blacks can live in hot climate exposed to the sun without sunscreen, oftentimes without a shirt or hat. With that being said, we know that ancient Egyptian drawings do not ever show the Egyptians enslaving a race of white people called the Hebrew Israelites. The Caucasian race did not build the pyramids with their shirts off in the hot deserts of Egypt for over 400 years. We know that in animal wildlife, an albino or white offspring is usually at a disadvantage when adapting camouflaging within its own natural habitat. The polar bear, most people don't know, has black skin if you were to shave all its hair off. Dark skin absorbs heat, which along with body fat helps insulate the core temperature of the polar bear's body while living in very cold climates. In contrast to the popularity of fading creams, all across the world, there is no pill, injection, or cream that a white European Caucasian person can administer to make their skin permanently brown. We see all around the world where women in different countries such as Thailand, the Philippines, Dominican Republic, and even in Africa spend millions of dollars on fading creams to make their skin lighter. This is brainwashing that has affected all countries to believe that black is bad and white is good. Muhammad Ali commented on this brainwashing in regards to America. We've been brainwashed. Everything good is supposed to be white. We look at Jesus and we see a white with blonde hair and blue eyes. We look at all the angels, we see white with blonde hair and blue eyes. Now I'm sure there's a heaven in the sky and its colored folks die and go to heaven. Where are the colored angels? They must be in the kitchen preparing milk and honey. We look at Miss America, we see white. We look at Miss World, we see white. We look at Miss Universe, we see white. Even Tarzan, the king of the jungle in Black Africa, is white. White Owl cigars, white swan soap, white cloud tissue paper, white hair rinse, white tornado floor wax. All the good cowboys ride the white horse and wear white hats. Angel food cake is the white cake, but the devil's food cake is chocolate. When are we going to wake up as a people and end the lie that white is better than black? Muhammad Ali, 1967, 1971. Society has taught us that dark skin is ugly and that white skin is the standard beauty. This is a trick of the devil. If dark skin were the curse, then the curse of leprosy would make your skin black, not white as snow. Even parents who are dark-skinned will sometimes wish that their kids or grandkids will come out light, even before the child is born. This self-hate against our black skin is plaguing Black America. We have been tricked to believe that dark skin is a curse or is bad. This can be seen in the 2011 movie Dark Girls. The media today shows mostly women who are white, light-skinned blacks, or women who are light-skinned but from different countries. This is also seen in beauty pageants. Sometimes these pageants contestants may not even be the true representation of what the majority of the people in that country really look like. In 2012, 16-year-old Tarika Waters lost her crown after not looking like the natives of Fiji. She was a European Fiji ancestry. She was replaced by Koni Vakaloloma, who was a little browner, but still did not look like native Fijians. This is why we rarely see dark-skinned women in music videos, TV shows, commercials, or the news. Most children's shows on Disney and Nickelodeon have mainly white characters. and little to no black characters. Even teenage shows like Saved by the Bell and Beverly Hill 90210 showed the lack of African Americans in TV. This is called childhood brainwashing. Most of the women on the Latino channel Telemundo are light-skinned Latinos. Most of the commercials in the third world countries show light-skinned or white women. When we see pictures or videos, footage of Israel on TV, we don't ever see the Ethiopian Jews, and we also don't see Ethiopian Israeli soldiers on TV. Why do we have melanin? Any black person on the street preaching that Jesus Christ was black would be quickly corrected or ridiculed. So what is going on? These are just tricks of the devil to confuse and destroy God's order of things. The devil is a liar and likes to deceive people into believing a lie. If the original man was a white, then what would be the need for melanin? Why would God make the pineal gland to produce melanin if the original man and woman didn't need it or have it? Melanin is not a genetic defect or a mutation because the majority of people in the world have some shade of brown skin. Why? Because the majority of people in the world have some shade of brown skin. Oh, my bad. Why would God create the original man and woman white, Adam and Eve, to populate Earth if they couldn't physically withstand the sun, which is the most important physical thing on Earth, key to the survival of life? Also, if God made the white man in his image in the beginning, then we should all be white because the white man cannot get darker. The white race is still the minority race from a world view, even though millions of brown, black people, including the natives of every country worldwide, were killed worldwide via famine, disease, abortion, forced sterilization, eugenics, slavery, homicide, and wars. Fact. The original natives of many of the Caribbean islands, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Haiti, Bahamas, Cuba, were people of color with hair texture ranging from curly to straight black hair. Ancient black and white pictures of these tribes show them to be people with different shades of brown skin color, even to the darkest of shades like an African or Dravidian Indian. Today, there are various shades of brown because of race mixing down the years with their white European invader colonizers. 90% of the natives in Puerto Rico, called the Tiano Locano Oroc people, were killed off in the 1500s when the European Spaniards came with smallpox, which they had no immunity to, as well as harsh warfare and enslavement. The Garifuna, Carib people, also were the original natives of parts of South America and the Caribbean. They often fought with the Taino Locono or Warwick people. They, like the Taino people, experienced a drop in their population with disease, warfare, and slavery brought by European nations, Dutch, Portuguese, Spanish, and French, during the slave trade. The Taino and Carib people both integrated with Africans brought to their land during the slave trade. Mixture with the native Africans and the white Europeans would give us the mixture of people we see today in the Dominican Republic, Haiti, Puerto Rico, and South America. This is why we see a strong dominance in these islands of people of color, black, brown skin, with different European languages, Spanish and French, and different grain of hair. Puerto Rico would have the largest extermination of the brown-skinned Taino native, followed by the arrival of African slaves. However, over the years, the color Puerto Rico changed thanks to white European Spaniards, just like in the Philippines with the black Negrito Eta people. So that today it is the lightest island in the Caribbean. Today you can still find the black Carib, Garifuni people in Honduras, Belize, Guatemala, and Nicaragua. You can still find the Taino people scattered in the Caribbean as well, still letting people know that they were the original inhabitants of the lands before the Europeans came and changed the face of their islands. Remember, Most of the natives of the lands of every country prior to the invasion of the Europeans were a brown black people. Once the European, French, Dutch, Spanish, Portuguese, English, Jews, Greeks, Italians arrived on the worldwide scene, they changed the names of the lands they conquered, the language, and lightened the skin color of the people that were already living there. Africa and its different country states were divided, named by Europeans. Before they arrived, there was no Nigeria, Uganda, Cameroon, and Kenya. Different empires like Ghana Empire and Aksum Ethiopian empires possessed certain territories. Look far back in history and you will see this is to be true. Nevertheless, trace of the original natives can still be found if you search for the truth. If God made the white man in his image, why would the white skin of the biblical leprosy be a curse? And why did he curse famous biblical characters white skin instead of black skin? It doesn't make sense. Melanin is real and is like a natural sunscreen imprinted in our DNA. When UV light rays hit people's skin with melanin, they get darker. This is about as natural as how plants grow when they receive sunlight and water. People with melanin move to another climate or place where the sun is less, their skin may lighten. However, just as quick as the skin can lighten in the lack of sunlight, so can it turn back to its browner color in the sun. This is a form of adaptation to the environment. Europeans living in South Africa, Brazil, Cuba, Caribbeans, and Australia have not turned brown or black like the natives of the land, despite having generations of children and living near the equator. We know this. This is because they can't. This is a lack of melanin because it's not in their DNA. This is a perfect example of how you can discredit anybody that states black people are the result of white people being in the sun over thousands of years. Do Africans that move to London after 5 to 10 generations of intermarriages with their own kind eventually turn white or light skinned because of the lack of sunlight or heat? The answer is no. There is medium to light skinned brown Africans living in Botswana, Namibia, Angola, Zimbabwe, and South Africa called the Sand People. They are genetically the oldest inhabitant of these lands, but yet are medium light brown skinned Africans with slanted Asian looking eyes. There are black dark skinned people living in Palestine, Turkey, Iraq, Iran, India, and even the Philippines. If you ask any one of these people, if you ask any one of these people, are there people in their country dark as Africans, African Americans, they would tell you that it is because of the sun and the heat. This is false. Some of the people saying these false answers themselves are white or very fair living in the same climate and are not brown, black skin, so they automatically prove their theory to be wrong. Many Arabs living in the hot desert Middle East and some fair-skinned Aryan Indians believe that mankind's skin color is based solely on the exposure of sun. They believe that their original forefathers like Adam, Abraham, Noah, and Ishmael, for instance, were white-skinned. They will say that mankind originated out of Mesopotamia and that the black man came from the white man. If they knew the truth, they will say that all mankind originated and migrated out of Africa. The rest were forcefully removed from Africa via slavery and migrated out of Africa. The rest were forcefully removed from Africa via slavery and captivity. Within the last 200 years, you could attribute the light brown skin individuals of North Africa, North America, South America, the Caribbean, Middle East, Asia to the result of race mixing with European or Arabs. But what about 4,500 years ago? What color were most people during these times in BC? Melanin and skin color is primarily genetic as we know. It existed since the beginning of time and still does today. There are pictures and records dating back to 3000 BC that prove that the ancient Sumerians, Egyptians, Ethiopians, Persians, Mesopotamians, Babylonians, and Hebrews were brown, black-skinned people. However, A lot of this information is hidden from us by the same white race Europeans that consistently warred, invaded, conquered, killed, or enslaved other lands throughout history. Remember, the ancient black Egyptians were invaded by the Greeks, Persians, Romans, and the Arabic Islamic empires of the north. The Egyptians did not travel in ships everywhere trying to conquer everyone else's land. This is why mostly everyone in North Africa and the Middle East speak Arabic and not their own ancient language. The ancient Egyptians didn't speak Arabic. The ancient Canaanites and Phoenicians did not speak Arabic. The black Philistines did not speak Arabic as well. The ancient inhabitants of Israel spoke Paleo-Hebrew, which is similar to the ancient Phoenician language, not modern Aramaic. Syriac. Aramaic was possibly inspired by the Arameans, who were a northwest Semitic people who lived in the biblical land of Aram, Syria. The original inhabitants of Libya did not speak Arabic, nor were they Caucasian-looking Arabs. This is a known fact. If you do your research, the ancient Libyans were black and ruled the 22nd and 23rd Egyptian dynasties as pharaohs of Egypt. The pictures of Upet II, Libyan Egyptian pharaoh of the 23rd dynasty. Libyan pharaohs Shoshin the first and Libyan pharaoh Osirkon the second can be seen for yourself on the internet. The proof they were black is evident by looking at the carved pictures on the walls in Egypt as well as the heated statue. This is in BC times, before Christ, hundreds of years before the Arab Muslims invaded North Africa and the Middle East in 600 AD. Ancient pictures of Libyans, Syrians, Canaanites, and Nubians, Ethiopians, and Egyptian paintings show that all these nations were a black people. Look up pictures: a Libyan, a Canaanite, a Syrian, and a Nubian bow to Pharaoh, dynasty, carry-on Muslim. The current Egyptians are not black anymore, like their picture drawings on the wall in the pyramids, because of the invading Europeans and Arab Muslims from the north. Japheth's seed. Everywhere you go, people that have dark skin are usually economically, socially, and politically oppressed. But people tend to forget that the world started off primarily from brown black people and then got lighter. We as blacks are taught that being dark is something bad. Thanks to the media and its trickery, we tend to believe that intermixing with other races or people lighter than us will make everything all right. When we were segregated and enslaved, we wanted what we couldn't have. We wanted to go shopping where the whites went. We wanted to go to white schools, libraries, movies, restrooms, restaurants, and so on. We even wanted their white women and men. When slavery and segregation ended, we lost all our black businesses and togetherness because we wanted to integrate into white society. We are now employees and consumers to other races than our own. And the last time I checked, I haven't seen Arabs, Latinos, Afghanistanis, Pakistanis, Indians, Italians, Greek, Spaniard, Portuguese, Chinese, Filipinos, Japanese, Russians, European Jews, or whites breaking down doors to marry a black man or black woman. Nor do you see the other races working for black people. These other races and cultures practice race preservation. Just look at their countries. Everyone look the same, don't they? However, the white race, European, British, France, and Spaniards, were known for the colonizations and interbreeding of many countries throughout the world. This is why many Filipinos are light-skinned and have Spanish last names. This is why the Haitian Africans speak French and the Dominicans speak Spanish, and neither believe they are related to each other or came from the other. This is why some Cubans can look white and some can also look black. but yet speak Spanish. This is why some Puerto Ricans can look white or black. This is also why people in the UK, British, London have a similar accent to those people living in the British Virgin Islands and the Caribbean, West Indies. This is also why there are different shades of brown-skinned people living in India. Lastly, this is why African Americans have different shades of brown skin and non-African last names. The majority of the natives of the land of the world started off brown, black, and later became lighter because of mixing of their races with white races of Europe. Yep. Well, that's it, guys. Remember, knowledge is power. Tune out and tap in and, raise your consciousness, man. Create your own model. Think for yourself. Don't let nobody think for you. Always think for yourself, no matter what, man. That's the power of magic. Being able to create your own shit. Peace.